What's good, everybody? Welcome to Life on Beagle Road. Yes, that's right. Today we're going to address two of our major issues here on the homestead. Our use of space and its efficiency overall. We're currently in like year 3 or 4, I kind of forget exactly, it just feels like forever, of owning goats. And we've gotten a lot better at some different stuff, but one of the things that we continually need to improve is our pasture management. In order to improve our pasture management, we've got to have actual pastures that make sense. And currently our buck and alpaca pasture does not make any sense at all. So that's the first thing that we're going to address today. And we're going to try to make it functional so that way we can rotationally graze on it. Also going to make sure that it's increasing our efficiency overall, so that way we're not doing twice as much work all the time. And we want to make sure that it's maximizing what little space we have available for just that area. All right, so obviously we've got to think about all of our obstacles here. For me, my obstacles are 1, limited space. I cannot use the front yard because our township says no. That is 1.5 acres out of my 5 that is unusable. Obviously we can't use the house and we can't use the kids' play area. We also can't use the garden and we can't use where the chickens are or where the existing barn is. So take that amount of land out and we're probably looking at less than 3 acres of land. When looking at that and trying to figure out how we can rotate does, bucks, alpacas, chickens, whatever else we decide to add to this property, we want to make sure we've got a good solid setup. So we have to come up with a plan. So that's what I'm trying to do today. Another obstacle we face is our terrain. So I've got things like the sand mound I'm on, the plumbing to the sand mound, which is going to cause some issues, the bumpiness, the trees, the shape. It's not really a square, so I'm trying to figure out how that's all going to work. One obstacle is certainly the fact that I'm probably going to be doing most of this myself. Well, I solved part of that by getting an auger so I can dig the holes with that and not manually, because I'm definitely not trying to do that again. I'm also going to make sure that I line everything out first, so that way I know exactly where my holes are going to be drilled, and I know where my fence line will be, and I can visually see it. Visually seeing it should be your number 1 thing. Another thing to think about, it's not something I'm concerned about with our animals with this space, but for you, you might need to, is how much space do you need for the number of animals that you have that you want to rotate through that space. This isn't really an obstacle, but it is part of what I need to focus on as I put this together. Our access to water is over by the house, so I want to make sure that the animals are kept close to the house. Until we get a rain collection system in, I have to work with what I have. I thought about doing sort of like a community area that broke off into other areas, but that started to get a little bit cumbersome in terms of what we needed. Multiple gates, extra fencing. You can't keep multiple different animals in there. I'd still need something for the other set of animals. So it really didn't make any sense. I think I've got some other obstacles that I'm not thinking of, but for now, I think we're good. I'm feeling good about it. Let's get through this. My thought here is to make one big giant block of pasture, and then we can use the electric netting to split it into pieces as we see fit and as we need. In order to do this right, I find where all my corners are, I stick a post in those corners, run a string from one post to the other so I've got a straight line. Then put in some support posts to make sure that the string stays up, stays tight. So when I go to put my fence posts in, I can use that line to make sure everything is straight. I also take the measuring wheel and I mark about every 10 feet. Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna go every 10 feet with our posts. Not totally sure that we're gonna use just T-posts. We may use actual posts and put in some boards across, at least on the front end, because sometimes it's just gotta be fancy, folks. I mean, it's not efficient to put up, but it's fancy. Later on, it'll be efficient. After that, I'm gonna have to figure out where the gates go. We have one gate back in the corner already. That gate is actually gonna stay there. Everything is in really well, and I can get the tractor in over on the side, so we're gonna keep that little path there for the tractor. Normally, I would dig all these by hand. You've seen me do it before if you follow our channel, but this time, I'm not messing around. I'm gonna get an auger, and we're gonna make it quick. Seriously, it's gotta get done. If I'm digging all these by hand, whoo, forget about it. So if that's the corner down there, I'm thinking our gate can probably be right here in this area. There's no plumbing in this area. The only thing we're contending with are tree roots. I'm gonna walk the pasture lines and make sure that I know exactly how long each one is. To do that, I just grab the measuring wheel and then just walk and see what I come up with. It looks like across the top, I'm at like 127 feet across the top. Around the side here, I have about 170. That takes me all the way to the creek. And then if you follow the creek line all the way back to the back corner of the property, that's about 326 feet. And then if you follow the creek all the way up the dilapidated fence, that's about 500 feet. I know that that sounds big. When we look at the space, it's not as cut and dry as we would like. If it were one wide open pasture, nice and flat, that'd be one thing. But, I mean, it's not. Look at this. All right, so this situation here, this has got to go. This is one obstacle. This is our old garden. We're going to tear it out. Over there is the gate we're going to keep. This is not mine, but obviously an obstacle we got to work around. This is our top corner right here. So it's going to go that way, and then it's going to go down that way. Well, I feel like we've got a pretty decent plan here, folks, and I am very excited to get started on this tomorrow for sure. This is going to be the thing that really changes things for us in terms of what we're doing with our animals and improves our way of life, really. You know, making things easier, more efficient, less time, better use of space, all that stuff. So I'm excited about it. Can't wait to get started. I already reserved the post hole digger, so I'm not digging them all by hand. That'll allow us to get done a whole lot faster. This is going to be great. It's definitely going to be great. If you're trying to understand what exactly we want to accomplish in terms of pasture rotation, check out this video below and Courtney will explain it ad nauseum, because that's what she loves to do, folks. Talk goats and everything else.